Hey everybody, oh, it's a nice little crowd. So we're gonna be talking about freelancing and consulting for developers. Before I break into it, is there how many people here are actually freelancers now and you have clients and you're actually working right now? Good. How many people are looking to do that? Like you've never freelanced before, but you're like, hey, I wanna do this. Okay. And then how many people are just, you just work the normal 9 to 5 and maybe you're thinking about doing it? You? Okay, cool, perfect. So I think everybody will get something from it. If you're already out there freelancing, there'll be a few nuggets there that maybe you can use, but feel free in the different sections, instead of waiting to the end, if you have something that's relevant to you, that's actually a better way for me to kind of help you specifically. So I don't mind doing that. So it can be like a real situation. I made some real vague situations here. So just a little bit of background. First of all, it's my email. You can contact me anytime. If you have any questions about anything that I'm talking about today, I have no problem spending some time with you. Built my first website in 1997 when I was a little kid. A bunch of friends, nothing special. It was like pictures of us like breakdancing and stuff. It was kind of like a MySpace page before MySpace, right? Like we were just putting up random stuff. And then I started freelancing after I left college early, started freelancing in 2005. So I've always kind of done that. I've actually only had one actual job since then. So I've only worked at a place one time. Over 100 projects completed. I mean, I've just done so many. Not everything is still out there. Obviously, you work with people who don't succeed, right? So that's, it's gone. And then mostly I focus on, it seems like everything, but it's just, web, mobile, and digital marketing. I have experience in a bunch of different things. So just depending on what someone's needs are, there's a good chance that I can help them in some way. So that's my background. I want to get into just really quickly, some people don't, I'll use freelancing and consulting interchangeably just because I'm doing it, I'm switching between consulting with a client or actually freelancing. So freelancing is you're performing all the technical work. So the client hires you for a one-off or short-term project. Work is done off-site with a deadline for completion. So that's someone wants you to do a quick website for them, and after they're done, maybe they have a maintenance plan, maybe they don't, right? Consulting is you're actually providing project advice and direction. So you're trying to take your experience and help them navigate what they're doing. And you might actually do some technical work. So there's situations where I'll do some technical work, but then I'll get other people to help as well. But you mostly manage the project, report results to the client, and these can be long-term commitments with no end date. They just keep going, and hopefully you're bringing them results, and now you're consulting with them. And you're not actually having the code, but knowing how to code and knowing the right talent to bring in and the right pieces to bring in and how to handle a certain situation is extremely valuable. It actually may be more valuable than just coding by the hour. So something to think about. So I just want to get into just the basics. So a lot of you will probably know this stuff, but I think it's interesting for those that don't. What do you need to actually start your own business? So how do you actually become a business, right? Besides just saying that you're freelancing. And just a tip, you can use the same company for freelancing and consulting interchangeably. So real easy. First step, file your LLC, sunbiz.org. Anywhere from 125 to 160 bucks. There's a couple little options if you want to get some cool stuff in the mail from them. Probably not worth it, but you can get it if you want. There's a piece on there where people always get confused. They're like, they want a registered agent. Well, you can be your own registered agent, so don't have to worry about that. You go to the IRS website, get the form SS4, cost is free, so you can do that immediately after you receive your information from Sunbiz. And then you just go to a bank and you open up an account. So there's some online banks like Aslo, which is free. So business accounts, they're gonna charge you a monthly fee if you don't have a certain amount of money. But some of these banks don't do that. And some of them have initial deposits just to get started, but they don't have monthly fees. And then obviously a traditional brick and mortar, usually like 1,500 bucks, they want you to have in the account. So if you're just starting, that may not be the best option, but you also don't want to wait until you get a client to start doing these things. Because once you get a client, things start moving quickly. Like they want to start doing stuff, and there's no time to wait for you. If you want to get paid, you got to have somewhere to bring that money. And you can even do something as simple as PayPal. I mean, I've had people just pay me with PayPal. These days, it's all about convenience. So just pick what you want to do, but definitely have these basics set up, and this should take very little time. Is there any questions on that? No? A lot of you have already done this before? Yeah, I can tell. So this is where we're gonna get into the meat. And this is what the biggest question is everybody has, right? Like, how do I get a client? What are the steps in order for me to take in order to actually land a client? Not just any client, a client that's gonna make you enough money that you can live comfortably, you're not working 24 hours a day, and it's a good working relationship. Like, how do you find that? That's the hardest part. I mean, in all the years that I've freelanced, like, just the past few years is when I've really been able to hammer that down. So I've had the worst clients ever, like, for a long time. Like, and it was just disastrous, but that's just that's the game you're in. And at that time, I didn't have any mentors or anything like that. So I was really learning a lot on my own. So I highly recommend that you associate yourself with people who have been there before, because mistakes that you might make, they're gonna be able to help you right away. So a tip for getting clients is specializing is the fastest way to get clients. So if you're just leaving the boot camp, if you're just getting your degree and you just want to do anything possible because you want to get your money back for the money you just spent, you're not going to do as well as if you just say, you know what, I used to be in real estate, right? I still like it, but I wasn't, that didn't work out. So why don't I just build real estate websites? Like, that's it. Like, that's all I'm going to do. Right? That's the easiest way to get going, because now you have a very narrow target of people, and it's easy for you. Like, okay, if you're going to do that, maybe you put together 2 or 3 templates, right? And they can just choose, and it can be low cost. And you don't have to sit here and be like, oh, well, now tomorrow I'm working with a circus, and now I'm working with a real estate agent. Like, you're not going to be able to think clearly when you're trying to do too many different niches. Pick your niche, your industry, specific type of site app, and stick with it. So if you build a specific type of app, you do social media apps, you're very good at it, just find those clients. It may take a little bit longer, but when you find the right person, they're obviously going to know you're passionate about it, because that's what you stick to. They're going to pay a lot more because they want someone who truly knows what they're doing with that particular thing. Does it make sense? Cool. Anybody here just specializing? Everybody's just doing everything. Okay, yeah. That's how it is. I still do it too. I mean, you try to follow a path, but there's always something that comes up, and I'm going to get into how to pick and choose those battles, actually. So networking is the number one thing, and that's really what a lot of this is going to be about. So a lot of people, they get really scared. They're like, I'm not a networker. I'm not good with talking with people, or, maybe I have kids at the house, so I can't make it out. So there's a lot of different excuses that people will have, but guess what? You're all here today. So you're networking. I mean, I saw everybody talking, people were exchanging numbers and cards. So you are already doing a lot of what is required. It's now about putting yourself in front of the right people. So where do you network? And I'm gonna tell you right now, meetup.com, you're gonna meet a lot of people. I mean, this is back in the day, there was not meetup.com. It was much different, right? Now, I mean, any group you can think of, if you want to do wine websites for wine companies, you could just go to a wine meetup and meet probably people who need a website, right? LinkedIn, a lot of people, there's a lot of negatives about LinkedIn, but it's been actually extremely valuable for me. I mean, right now, the clients that I have, most of them are based off people who contacted me from LinkedIn. And not even them themselves, it was someone else who contacted me. I built a relationship with them. They introduced me to the next person. It was a little slow, but huge return. So there's a strategy to that, and I'm going to tell you about it.
If you're doing any level of consulting, you do not have a business page for your consulting company, no matter if you have one client, you're not out.
This guy's smart. Wow. I appreciate the help. Max, he's actually one of my close friends, and he's one of those people that I met actually on LinkedIn. So this person contacted me. I did not know him. This was several months ago. And we met up, we built a relationship, a lot of common ground. He's introduced me to clients, people I would have never met. And the level of difficulty to sell that client is much lower because you're being introduced. You're not trying to show off your portfolio. I'll tell you right now, I don't have a business card, okay? I don't have a portfolio. I do have a site up, but it's really old. No one's asking me for these things because the people who are introducing me are already have the trust of that person. And they're like, who do you know? And they're like, you have to talk to Roy because this guy knows what he's doing. I know projects that he's been successful with. That's pretty much good enough to get you a meeting with anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. And that's really what you want your focus to be. You're not gonna sell, if I meet you today, I'm not gonna sell you on something today, right? Seminars and conferences, these are actually even better places. So places where it costs money to be, these people are focused on growth. They wanna learn. These are the type of people that you wanna be around. Who to network with? People with consistent work coming in, other devs, designers, and marketers. So these are kind of like your first set of network, the people in the first set, because you're able to engage with them and then they might find someone who needs something that you specialize in and they don't, and they pass it to you, right? They're always running into people. Or you're consulting, you need to bring on another talent, you know this person. You have a close relationship with them. So highly useful. People in your chosen niche or industry. This is key. That's a client I have right now. Never met this person. They live on the other side of the country, but we're in the same niche. One of my websites, we're in the same niche. We're in the same industry. I know him from that. And now I'm consulting with him for high ticket consulting. Okay? Because he sees what I'm doing and we're in the same niche. So it's only natural that if I'm available, he would hire me, right? And now you're sticking in your niche and you don't have the circus hiring you to do their website or app as well as the real estate agent. So business owners and entrepreneurs, obviously, these are the people that need stuff done. They're the ones with the money. They're the ones taking the risk. They need talent. Get to know those people as much as you can. Others who are also networking consistently. So I like to be around a lot of people who are also out there networking, because if they know my message, if they know me, if they know what I do, what I've done, it's very easy for them, they want talking points too. They're out there mingling. They want to seem like they're in the know. They know people. You're one of their assets. They're a networker. You're an asset. They're talking about you because they want to look good. That's the perfect position that you want to be in. That's exactly where you want to be. Because that person is going to find people that you'll just be sitting on your couch, you get a phone call one day, and it's like $10,000 project. And it's like, that's it, right?
You're either paying for leads or you're paying for relationships.
Okay. So networking step-by-step in person. I'm literally going to go by this step-by-step. This is my practice. This may not be something you've seen in a book or whatever. This is just what works for me. So 1, attend the event. You have to be there. You have to be in the game to play. If you're still on the highway, you didn't make it to the stadium yet, you cannot be on the field, period. Make introductions, no selling or advertising. This initial introduction is strictly, do we have common ground? Do we both like to go smoke cigars or drink bourbon or play video games? That's where we're at that level. When you go out to this initial meeting, this first person that you meet, you're doing your research. You're also trying to figure out, is this someone that can be mutually beneficial to me? So you're doing a little bit of research while you're speaking to people that you're meeting. These are your one-to-ones. But these aren't people who are going to spend money with you, more than likely, right? Connect and set a time frame for a meeting in the near future. So you met a couple people here today that you may not have known. Your next step is to say, hey man, I was great talking to you. We didn't get to finish the conversation about your cool project. Do you want to just grab coffee like during lunch tomorrow, this week, in the near future? Try to set something up. Get in the habit of getting their social accounts. I usually get people's LinkedIn, get their number, set a possible time frame in the near future for additional meetings. So that's key. If you're not meeting with someone another time, they're forgetting about you. I mean, people meet people every day. But you have to be someone who's consistently, it seems like a lot of work, but it's truly not. But you need to be someone who is getting with people often. Example, this is literally something I might say. Chris, it's been great speaking with you. Would you be interested in grabbing some coffee or lunch in the next week? I'd love to hear more about your current project and also share some cool stuff that I'm working with as well. I use this all the time because I actually am working on a lot of stuff and I want feedback. So I actually approach them. I'll bring my deck, my information about what I'm working on so I look organized, right? Like it's one thing for me just to blab off to you about my idea, but if I have it written, it's very impactful. And I'm actually just looking for the feedback. I'm not selling them on anything. This is actually trying to set the stage for where your skill set is. So a lot of you might be saying, I just graduated boot camp. Nobody was going to want to work with me. That doesn't matter. That truly does not matter. At this point, this is not an interview with whoever, judging if you're senior, junior, or whatever they want to come up with. This is literally just, can you do what someone else needs done? It could be very simple. It may not be a complex application working with all these crazy APIs. It could just be like, okay, they need, a simple website. Okay, but if the price is right and the client makes sense, you can pursue that. Okay, so any questions on that? I know I kind of went through that fast. Am I talking too fast? I'm talking too fast, right? I do that. Yeah, but just in case it's relevant to this one section. So what's the next step? Follow up. This will make or break your network. If you don't follow up, again, you're not going to build a relationship, right? I think even Lee, I met you on the Slack. We talk often. I haven't hung out with him too much, but we're pretty close now. And we just keep up. And now he's a contact. And if there's something going on, we can work with each other. Or not, or we could just be friends, right? That's what it's about. So you don't want it to always be about that. Contact within 24 hours, the sooner the better. It's never too soon. Right when they leave. Hey man, this is just my phone number. Just want to make sure you have it. Like, you can never do that enough. Pro tip, I actually got this from someone who I consider someone I look up to. He says he always gets a photo or selfie with the contact, and then in the message or email, they'll send it. Hey man, it was a great time. Like, you're like, it was a great time. It was good meeting you. When do you want to meet up on the next thing? That's like instant. They're not going to say no. Now, hopefully this is someone you vetted and it's worth spending time with, but it's very hard to say no to that. They're going to be an a-hole. You send them a pic, you guys took a cool pic, not going to do it. So this is kind of like ways to kind of like, I won't say trap people, but you got to feed into the emotion of someone and what they're thinking about. Continuous follow-up. The job's not done after the first in-person meeting. I mean, I have my friends over all the time. My wife doesn't always like it, but hey, this is my business and I need to make sure that I have contacts in the places that I need them, and we should hang out. We should get together. It's not always just, throwing drinks back. We're actually talking and sharing information and trying to learn from each other. So I've chosen who that group is. You ever hear that phrase, you're the 5 people you hang around? I mean, it's true. It's definitely true.
He's talking about his environment, but he's also separating people that are fellow consultants and the other business partners he's involved with.
This guy knows a lot about my stuff. Nah, obviously we talk about it a lot. This is something we talk about a lot. That's what you need. So keep up with them weekly or monthly. It doesn't have to be every day. Check in. There's people I check in with once a month. Hey man, are you around? Do you want to go grab a drink or whatever it may be? And that's it. And we just have this basic relationship. But over those conversations, they know what my skill set is, what I'm working on, what my results were. We're talking about that. I'm talking about the type of clients that I like. So when they're out there, they kind of know what I'm looking for. And then they're doing that vetting for me before they pass me a referral. They're not going to give me a referral that they know is not going to be able to afford my services. They know it's a waste of my time because I've mentioned it. I've ranted about it, right? Like friends do. We're just talking about stuff. So they get to know you. This is key. This is actually really key. Bring other people to your new contact. They should get to know because that's helpful. So, John, would you love to have a happy hour Friday? I have a few people I want to introduce you to in the real estate industry. When I bring out one of my friends, I say, there's someone else meeting up with us. They're this person, they've done this. And you're like, oh man, great. They're building their network. I'm bringing people. I look like I'm an important person. I mean, I'm out there with like 10 people everywhere I go because I'm introducing everybody. I'm trying to, and I'm having fun. Like, we're not actually working, but this is very valuable because the sale should be quick. Getting into the work should be quick. This is the part you should spend your time on, not nurturing a client to buy from you and have 10 meetings with them. And that's not what you want to be spending your time on. If you have to meet with that person that many times, that's just not someone you want to work with. They should know. They should be able to, they should get a referral from someone they trust. If you need something done around your house, you don't know a roofer, you're asking your friend, do you know a roofer? And then you're pretty much rolling with that guy or girl. So that's how it works. Okay, so that's in person. Pretty cool? Make sense? Yeah. Anybody doing something similar to this now? A little bit? Cool. So kind of what I talked about before. But now I'm going to bring this new phrase, champion client. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the trophy. You want the champion client. It's not about the initial person you met. It's about building a long-term relationship with them so they will introduce you to champion clients. Landing a champion client at an event after one conversation is like hitting a home run your first at bat. You never played baseball. You're just like, boom, and it's like, man, that just went 300 yards. How did that happen? It's not going to happen. So don't try because you're going to look bad because they're going to sense it. Just be friendly. Just get to know people, especially in an environment like this where we're all in the same business. You're probably not selling anybody here on anything. More than likely, this is your network of people who will work with you, who will refer you people who they don't do the type of work that you do. And that's this group. But there, you should also, if you're in real estate, you should be at the real estate investor meetup because you're going to be the only dev. And they're like, oh man, they're going to crowd around you like you're someone special. And that's what you want. And no one else is doing it. And then you can make those contacts. And then when you say, hey, I used to be in real estate, so I get it, but now I'm a developer. They're like, oh man, we need this guy. He knows it. He gets it. These other developers, man, they don't get it. You know, I hear that all the time. Oh, they don't, this person doesn't get it. That person doesn't get it. Now you get it. Pick a niche, pick something you're interested in. There's money in a lot of different things, especially right now. I mean, money's falling out the sky. So if you're trying to look for clients, look for these type of clients because they have money to spend. Everybody has money right now. It's a unique time, actually. When I was working through, which actually was interesting, pre the financial situation, 2008, right? Everybody got fired or left their job. But now everybody was like, damn, I need to do this internet thing. Everybody needed a website. Everybody needed business cards. I mean, it was like gold rush. I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. Because everybody, you know, human nature is to claw your way out of it. And that's what happened. But now it's even different. These people have been working on their things and now they're spending money. They've started to make money. It's several years later, new groups of people, they're making money. I mean, it's just the greatest time. And if it's not for you, I mean, let me know. Because maybe I'll point you in the right direction. Because it should be right now. And it should be. And this is kind of the web of it. You get it? All right? Makes sense. And then those guys will veer off into more people and just further and further down the line. I mean, we're not doing SEO on Google trying to show up. We don't have an email list. That's not how we're prospecting. It's a whole different way of prospecting. You can do those things as well. But I'm telling you right now, this is way easier. And like I said, you're going to get paid way more. Period. You're going to get paid more. 100%. Make sense? Interesting so far, or you've heard all this stuff before? Good? Perfect. So let's talk about LinkedIn, because man, you don't know how many arguments I get with people on the Slack about LinkedIn and recruiters, and man, you're not seeing it. You're not understanding. Recruiters, number one, are like your best asset because they're networking all day. That's their job. And maybe you're not looking for a job, but if you get friendly with the recruiter, they run into people every day that need stuff. Small companies they can't work with to find them staffing. I mean, anything you can imagine. They're touching 50, 60 people a day. And if that's someone you're close to, well, you're like pinkying those people almost. You're like right there. And if you feed this person enough information about yourself, they will find you. And it's not just recruiters, but it's people like that, people networking. So number one, position your online presence to be desirable by people you're interested in meeting. So the thing is, if you look at my LinkedIn right now, it doesn't say I'm a coach or speaking or whatever. It literally looks like a profile where I'm attracting people who are looking for people to do work, recruiters, hiring people at companies, and they're just running across my thing. And then I vet them through there and I figure out, okay, well, obviously I'm not going to go work full time, but maybe there's someone I have a client right now. Guy just hit me up randomly off LinkedIn. I get messages every day. And it just seemed a little interesting. He actually went to the college that I went to, University of Alabama. So this company's in Alabama. And he was just wondering, hey man, are you interested in moving to Alabama? We have an agency out here. I'm like, obviously not. And I was like, no, but maybe I can still help you. What do you need? Oh, it's WordPress development. Great. He really liked me. We talked on the phone. As you can imagine, we talked for a while. He's like, hey, we weren't expecting to hire someone remote, but we do have remote people. How do you feel about just working whenever we need you? I'm like, that's perfect. You know what I mean? Because that's how I want to be. I don't want to be oh, you need me 9 to 5 because I'm not available at that time. But there are times during the week that I do have a lot of time. And if you're willing to pay the right price, which is much higher than what they would pay somebody in Alabama, then I'm willing to do it, and we're doing it. And now it's like, it's like $1,000 a week. You're just putting in minimal time, 10, 12 hours a week. WordPress site. I mean, that's the simplest thing, right? So it's a pretty big deal. You need to be more welcoming with your connections. You don't know who someone is. You don't know how hard they're out there working, pushing their thing. And if you can attach yourself to that, you're gonna ride that wave. No? So everybody that you click no to, and you're like, oh, this guy doesn't know what I truly want to do. I mean, you never spoke to him before. How do you expect him? He's doing his job, you're doing your job. Everybody's got a job to do, but people are looking for opportunities. And you just have to tell them who you are. And maybe it doesn't work out. And like, okay, you just talk to them one time and we're not friends or anything, and you move on, right? Like I literally had someone that randomly connected with me on LinkedIn from Orlando, and she was new in town. And I guess I'd been posting about something networking related or whatever. And she was like, hey, I'm new, asking me questions. So we got on the phone. I'm like, hey, let's just jump on a call. I'd love to hear you're in security, cybersecurity. I don't know anything about it. Let's talk. Like, I want to hear. Because maybe this is someone who, when I'm in that next conversation, you're like, oh man, I wish I knew a cybersecurity expert. I'm like, I got you. I'm like, damn, this guy really knows everybody. Like, yeah, because I'm actually being welcoming to everybody who's talking to me. And it so happened that I ended up telling her I'm trying to get into coaching people and all these different things. She sent someone to me. We only had one 15, 20-minute conversation. Another person hits me up on LinkedIn. Hey, I got your information from this person. I was talking to her about I want to do XYZ. She said you were the perfect person to talk to. We were on the phone an hour later. No effort. I was just hanging out. I was eating lunch or something. I was just playing video games or something. You know what I mean? Now I've got an opportunity. I don't know. It didn't turn into anything, but I'm willing to take 20 minutes to find out, no matter who you are. Now, obviously, if they're from out of the country and they're not even typing to you correctly, you have to vet it. Use your judgment, but if someone looks even halfway decent, I say connect with them, right? And then basically leverage scheduling tools. So use tools like Calendly, which is free, and schedule an introductory phone call, right? So I'm not doing this so much right now because I'm just busy with other stuff, but for a while I was going really hard where if you connected with me, you had to take a phone call with me or just don't connect with me because I don't want to connect with you if we're not going to talk. And I was just doing that all day. And people were just on the phone with me. That's for the stay-at-homes, right? You got kids, trust me, this is, I'm not going to lie, I pull more out of this than anything and less effort. I'm just sitting there, truly, and a phone call rings or I get a message. So example, and this isn't truly word for word, but if you need help with one, message me. I'll review what you're sending. But thanks for sending the connection request. Would love to have a 15, 30-minute call to chat and see if we can help each other. Click my Calendly link for availability. If they say no, then you didn't want to know them anyways. Most people will say yes. But be selective. You don't have all day, so make sure you do a little bit of research. So you might be asking, the next question is, well, shit, all right. I guess I got all that information about I got to meet up with these people, but what are we going to talk about? I'm not interesting. I don't have anything going on, right? That's what everybody says. But then they talk to me for an hour about things they like and stuff they're doing. I'm like, bro, you got a lot going on. Just say what you just said to me to everyone else that you run into, and you'll be okay. So your goal when networking is to make sure everyone knows who you are, what you do, what you're currently working on, and what you're looking to do in the future. And most importantly, and I don't always do a great job of this, but I'm trying, this is where I need to improve, listen. People want someone they can talk to. That's how you get real close with people. If I'm very interested in what you have to say, and I'm responding, you're gonna wanna talk to me more in the future, right? People like that. You just wanna feel good. Be someone your contacts can rely on for help, insight, advice. Hey man, I know you don't do apps, but if you ever have any questions, just let me know. I'll take care of something for you, whatever. You know what I mean? Also use this time to figure out if the relationship will be mutually beneficial. You need to find that out as soon as possible because you just don't want to waste time. People will waste your time. Okay? Actually, I'm going to be honest with you. Only go-getters will want to meet with you. People that aren't out there hungry, they won't meet with you. There's people who don't meet with me. I have people who, and I don't want to name any names, very, very nice person. They wanted to set a meeting with me like 2 months, in like 2 months. It's like, bro, you don't have next week? You know what I mean? Like, this guy's not serious. So that's cool. I mean, cool guy. Like, hey, we can hang out anytime. But I know that's not someone who's going to be pushing my message, or at least in the way that I want them to, right? So how do we identify champion clients? This is the hardest part, but it's actually very easy. The signs are everywhere. Not every prospective client is the right client for you. Be selective. Make sure it aligns with your target niche and or industry. Everybody who just said they were doing anything and everything are letting and all these different types of things. You're not finding champion clients, trust me. No way. It's hard. And if you are, then there's luck involved in it too. I get lucky all the time. So it happens, but I'm gonna tell you what to look for so you can move on as quickly as possible. So traits of a champion client, they have an outline in writing of what they need and require. They're ready. They're sending you a Google Doc. I mean, this person is like, they're focused. They want something. They need it done, right? People who are just talking, oh yeah, I got this idea, and then it's not organized, and like, yeah, I want to be like Facebook, and that person is not worth talking to. So let someone else take that person. I'm sure there's a perfect consultant for them, freelancer, but you're not the one, right? Have realistic budgets. You want to get paid good money. You're an individual. You only have so much time. And I was talking about this earlier. A lot of your time is going to be spent networking. Then you got to create contracts and agreements and all these other things. Then you get like 30% of the rest of the time to actually complete work. So that has to be high ticket items. You don't have time to work 24 hours a day. You're going to burn out. You're not going to get anything done. It's going to end badly. They have realistic expectations. Their goal is not to make $1 million. Their goal is to collect 5,000 emails through this campaign. Their goal is to reach something that's truly attainable. They understand that this is really hard to do. There's people that truly just, I don't know what they're thinking. They truly think if they just throw a site up, they're going to be rich. And like, you don't want to work with that person because their expectation of what you're going to provide is something you cannot. No one can. You know what I mean? Unless they're going to spend a ton of money. Then anybody with millions of dollars to spend on resources to make it, right? I mean, we see it every day with all these companies. They raise money and all this stuff. But if you're just an individual and you have a small budget, you got to be realistic. What are we really trying to do here? Figure that out. Because if they don't know, then you don't want to work with them. Dedicated to their business. There's so many people I've worked with who are like, dude, are you doing this business or not? Like, I'm over here putting in my time, you're disappearing, now you're on vacation, you're doing this. Like, are you truly, a lot of people, they have another job or whatever. You have to gauge how engaged this person is because you know how hard it is to start your own thing. If it was that easy, we wouldn't even need a client. We would all be making it because we all know how to do these things, but it's very hard. And someone needs to actually be, these are long-term, someone comes to me to build an app. Man, this is like a lifetime's worth of like we're gonna be knowing each other for a long time if this goes well. I mean, this is a big deal. It's not like, oh man, just throw my stuff up. Nah, it doesn't work like that. They look for advice and for your advice and expertise. They're not trying to tell you how to, you ever see those people who are like, yeah, man, you just do this and you do that, and you're like you're proud of them that they're like, learning and taking the time, but in reality, if they hire you, they're hiring someone who's gonna give them advice, and they need to listen to it, or else, if they're not gonna listen to you, it's not worth taking their money. Because then it's like you're in this weird relationship where like you're just fighting, right? Like you're fighting what they think they know and what you know is actually the right thing. Now, there's tech people that need work done. That's a whole different story. We'll talk about that. But these are like non-tech people. They have an idea, that's most of them, right? Or they have a business, a small business, and they want to take these next digital levels. This is who we're talking about here, right? So they truly don't know what they're talking about. Like even myself, I've done a bunch of stuff, but I still sometimes, I don't know what the hell to do. I got to ask people, I got to look it up. So they respect your time. Because clients, man, I always say it, like they give you $1 and it's like they own you. They call you on the weekend, freaking people calling you at 7 a.m. in the morning. I mean, dude, 9 to 5 at minimum, right? Like business hours and like no holidays, no weekends. Now, depending on how much money this person is paying you and how involved and how passionate you are about that project, do your thing. But in reality, the average client you get does not need all that time unless they're paying for it. Your time is extremely valuable. You cannot be just working for them for a minimal amount of money. I mean, it's not full time. You might as well go work for a company, right? That's what everybody does. They're like, well, shit, I'm not getting enough clients. I'm not paying me enough. Should I just go get a job? And I'm telling you, no, don't do that. They can in detail define what success looks like to them. So I ask people all the time, what does success look like? So what would I have to do and you would think it's successful? If it's monetary, if it's something that is like, oh, we're gonna go viral, like, no, it's gotta be something realistic. Like, we wanna get our Google business listing up. We don't know how to do it. It's real simple, but they don't know how to do it, right? Like, that's a real thing. People are like, they got a business, they don't have the listing up. It's simple, you go to the Google business thing, but they need someone to do it. And that's a success, that's like a tiny win. Get a bunch of those little tiny wins equals one big win, they're happy, they keep going, and you just keep getting little. If you set these big expectations, you're never gonna reach them. It's too hard. They pay on time, or they communicate in advance if they cannot pay on time. I mean, no clients pay on time. It's like very rare. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, they're always something. And you have to get on them, and you have to find people who are willing to pay you on time when you want it. And preferably, if you're doing a project, I say get all the money up front. There's no reason why you shouldn't. Period. They need a deal, okay, maybe 50, and then like the rest midway. But there's no pay me as you go along. You have to set some standards. And if they're not willing to do that, they might not be a champion client. Or they might be. Depends. You have to look into it. So just some things, and I kind of talked about these, but people to avoid. They use phrases like, I just need something simple. This should be simple, right? It's so simple. They saw it on the thing. It's like, it's just a little thing, and like, they don't know. It's simple. This will go viral if I just get it live, then there will be more work. Never. It won't happen. And he accuses me of saying the same thing, but at the end of the day, if they already have a viable revenue stream, like they're already on their way, and they just need a little help, different story. Or if they're a technical person, you're teaming up with them, and you really look at it, it could be, right? But maybe someone's just looking for an opportunity and they're willing to take it, okay? It can work for me too. But I'm telling you, it's probably not, I'm telling you, probably not the best one to do, because you want to do some stuff where you're getting paid in full and you don't need to get them viral. I mean, you might just be a developer and they're like thinking you're going to SEO their stuff, and like they don't know. They think it's all the same. I run into people who's like, oh, you do IT. No, I don't even think what we do is IT. I don't know what it is. Like, I do development. You know what I mean? Like, no, not IT. So they think they know it all, know how to do your job. They want quick fixes to complex problems. They got things they got to solve, and they think like you're Mark Zuckerberg or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's truly their perception. And most things are pretty complex. I mean, everybody these days has something unique. You know what I mean? There's not much like, oh, I need that same exact thing. They always need something slightly different. And that comes with having to customize something. A lot of customization I've come across in the past few years. They have no notes or game plan written on how to reach their goals. They have no idea. It's just a thing in their head. They want to pay minimal amount for your service until the project is successful, but expect your full attention. Now, if I'm not paying you a full amount, I tell people I work with, like, I don't need your full attention. I just need you when you're available. Like, just let me know. Like, this is what I can pay. Be available, because I know what it takes, because I'm in the industry. That's how I would do it if I didn't have enough, right? But they don't do that. They think like you're working full time. Like, this is the only thing you're thinking about. Those are bad clients. Their only definition of success is monetary. They pay late. They talk badly about past freelancers and consultants. Well, you're next. I'll tell you that. And they have absolutely no respect for your time. I mean, they truly don't care that you have kids. Like, if they have an idea, they're calling you. You know what I mean? Like, bro, don't call me, I'm going to set up ways of communication, because no one should be texting you. Calls should be set up in advance, and then you should be using online tools to communicate the entire time, because it's recorded. First of all, I don't want a client calling me and telling me a bunch of stuff they want to do verbally, because we're going to forget it. And I'm probably pacing, walking around, listening to them. Just let's put it in something that we can look at it again later, and we can organize our thoughts. All right? Make sense? We've seen a lot of this stuff, right? Like, you guys see some of the bad traits out there? That's all your clients? It's everybody's clients. So keys to finding a champion client: ask questions. There's just never too many questions that you can ask. You can start to figure out real quickly how much this person is not your type of client by just asking them tons of questions. And you just need that information. I mean, you need to know. You shouldn't be out there like, oh, how much is the website? Oh, it's $2,000. Like, no, hold on a little bit. There's a process here, right? Set expectations with your network. Like I said, my network knows. You know, not gonna do a website for $500. It's not happening, right? Don't need it. Go to paid events. It costs you money too, but like I said, these are serious people. If I paid $300 to go to a seminar, I mean, you better believe I'm taking notes. I'm gonna hopefully follow through. If I meet a contact, I'm gonna follow through with them. And this is a person who's driven, because most people don't do that. It's too easy to do that. So they want to do it the hard way. Research prospective clients. Google the individual and their company, social profiles, press releases. Figure out who this is. If you want a long-term client, they better be on their way up. If it's brand new out the box, I'm telling you right now, out of those 100 projects, a lot of them were brand new out the box. That box is in the recycling bin. So you gotta know who you're working with. Because if they're making money, I mean, they're gonna pay you money. Pretty easy, it's math. How to talk about money with clients. This is the hardest part. I know I said networking was tough, but this is, oof. I was just talking about this to someone. And it's like, when you go to someone, you're like, I need $20,000. That's hard to say. Someone's like, you're just looking at it like, I need $20,000 to do this, sir. You're like, $20,000? What the fuck? I'm gonna show you how to get that money. The sooner you get on the same page financially with your client, the better off you'll be. You don't know how many people I talk to, they had 5 meetings already with someone, they don't know what their budget is. They don't know what they're willing to pay. I'm like, bro, what are you talking to them about? What the hell are you guys talking about? You need to know where they're at. If they're not serious, listen, I'm serious. At least when I'm selling you a dream, I have a budget. I got this amount. Are you willing to do it? Now you can gauge, you can figure it out on your own, right? Some people, they're like trying to hide it from you. Like they don't want to reveal because they think you're going to take advantage of them. Listen, I need to know what I can work with because we can do this or we can do that, and that depends on your budget. We can do the simple stuff, you know, and never use that word, I'm gonna get into that, but we can do easy stuff, not that one either, but you know what I mean. We can do the stuff that I have a lot of experience with and can get done on a high level, or we can work on your dream, which is, you know, we can work on that after. Let's do MVP, right? So get on that page immediately. Like, I don't wanna say first conversation, but you have to feel it out. You really have to, when you're talking to someone, try to understand where are they at financially, because that's key. You want to get paid a lot of money to do less work. That's my thing. Like, I don't work all day. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out here working 6 days a week. You know, I work 4 days a week, 4 or 5 hours a day, and the rest of the time is self-improvement. I'm working on my own stuff, I'm reading, I'm working out, I'm meeting people. And then I got that little bit of window to work on people's stuff, and they have to be paying a certain amount or else I just can't pay my bills, right? Makes sense, right? Like, it just has to be that way. It's the math. People are always like, how much should I charge? How much do you need to make? Do you want to make $10,000 a month? Well, then you have to charge this amount for your time, because the math, it's just the simple math. And I'm not good at math, and that's just addition, subtraction. Like, that's the easy stuff that I know. I'm real good at it. So the keys to talking about money are confidence and visuals. So I always explain this to people. I call it like the under the pillow like thing. Like you need to be able to give them something, because what ends up happening is they start spending a lot of money with you. I've had clients that spend, in like 2 years, they spend like $100,000. You don't think that they're like nervous about their investment? So what do? You got to make sure you have a visual that when they wake up cold sweats at night, they just had a nightmare about the project just totally failing, they lose everything, they freaking pull out your thing and you're like, oh, we got a game plan. Yes, I'm confident. I'm confident. Visual, under the pillow, has to be under the pillow. If it's not there, it's just not gonna work. And confidence, you gotta say $20,000 like you've gotten it 10 times before. And if you don't get it, you're not willing to do it, period. No negotiation, none. There's too many people right now that need work done, and too few talented people to do it for you to be negotiating your prices. Tell them to go find someone else. It's real simple, nicely, right? And sometimes they come back. They just come back. You tell them no, I'm gonna get into no. No is powerful. No is my word. Use it on everybody. Instances you will need to talk about money. Initial estimate, right? That initial first time. Upcoming or late payments. It's always fun, right? Hey, by the way, you missed my payment yesterday. Don't want to bother you, right? Increasing your rate. That's what we all want. That's hard. That's the hardest one. But we can do it. We can do that too. So initial estimates should never be verbally told to a client without a visual present. Don't tell them how much it is over the phone, verbally, without something to show them visually that they will put underneath their pillow. A deck. I call them decks, but they're slides. I mean, something like this, right? And I'm going to show you some examples, somewhat of an example. But if you want to see deeper what this looks like, you can contact me after. But prepare a proposal on the last page. List all the services being offered in a really long list, the longest list you can put together, and then put the price at the bottom. Because people see long lists. Long lists are expensive. They're big. You have a small list, people expect it to be cheap. So you make a long list and you go through it, and then if you're on screen share, you highlight the price at the end. It's gonna be this. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because it's that was 12 things. Damn, I'm getting a deal. So be confident when you say the cost. Clients can sense if you're nervous about saying how much a project costs. It can create doubt in their mind, and what you're providing is not worth it. When I first started, obviously in 2005, whenever I said, I was young, and I was 21. Nobody wanted to pay me a lot of money. I'm telling you right now, I was living at home. People, I guess, knew that because a lot of my clients I got were people I grew up with, who I knew, and these types of things. Trust me, nobody wanted me to be rich because I didn't, I was asking for the money. I wasn't saying this is what it costs confidently. I've been there before. You ever heard that term in sports? Act like you've been there before. They score a touchdown and they walk off yeah. They just hand it to the refs. Done that 100 times. That's how you got to be. That's the key. And then the visuals. Because if they don't see it, they cannot imagine. Trust me, clients have no imagination. It's one thing they don't have. None. So I want you to see, this is actual list. I used this recently. It looks long. Looks like it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm telling you right now, it's not a lot. But to the client, we're reaching all their goals. There's goals I set at the beginning, these are your goals, right? Yes. Okay, this is how we're going to get to those goals. Go through that. Boom. Review of services. XYZ. Cost, $3,500. We did this. I never met the person. Brought me a client. I never met him. He didn't even tell him what it was about. He's just oh, I want you to meet someone. I pull out my deck. I'm trying to sell this guy. In 1 hour, he already paid. We're good. Wrote a check. Because he had a visual. He had something he could take with him. He was excited. He had a game plan. He could see it. It wasn't just us at the bar talking. It was literally something real. And he was real is worth it. Fake is not. And it worked. Now we're in a good relationship. Champion client. Talking about money, upcoming or late payments can be handled via email. If you get no response within 24 hours, call them. Don't be rude. Let them know a payment is coming. Offer to help. I had to do this today. They're a few days late on my payment. I'm not stressing it, but I want to get paid on time. I want to set that standard. Hey, is there any help? Do you guys need something? Was my direct deposit information correct? Do you have my right address? I just moved. They didn't. They sent it to my old address, so hopefully it gets forwarded, right? You got to find out. You're just inquiring, and can I help you? Now, if you still can't get anywhere, you got to, start firing clients. Just move on. Rate increases. These are the hardest, but I've actually been able to do a few of these. You want to use heavy visuals to represent the results you brought to your client. Increase, always about results, right? You should, number one, I don't want you to equate higher rates with more time. It's the same time or less, but higher rate, because here's the result. We've been working on it. Here was your list of goals. We talked about this. Day one, my initial deck. These were your goals. We fulfilled them all and some. Hopefully that brought them money. If not, maybe that's not the right client, right? Because if they're not making money, they can't pay you more money. I need to be paid more. There's just, you know, my time is valuable. There's other shit going on, right? Like, I'm not gonna work for you forever. I need to increase, right? Drive home that increase is based on value and that you actually have limited time. You actually have limited time because you're running a business. So it's not just coding all day. It's not just designing. You can ask for increase maybe one time a year and ask yourself this before you do. If I stop working today, would they still get results without me? If that answer is no, then you're in there the next day trying to get more money. And you may lose a client, but you have to be willing to do it. And I promise 9 times out of 10, they will give you more money. If you're bringing a result and if you stop today, it would not come back. They'll be begging for you to stay. And it works. But if you didn't, don't bring it up. Just be happy you're still getting a paycheck. Probably won't be getting it for much longer. Matter of fact, start looking for someone else. Or figure out how to bring them a result, right? Like regroup, get back with them. Let's map out a few more goals. What can we do? What can we do to get the ball rolling? Several months have gone by. What's going on? We didn't, you had this goal, we didn't reach it. What do we need to do next? Look concerned, I mean, obviously you are, but at the same time, listen, you want them to keep spending money. One-time clients are not always the best. Sometimes they're good because you just need something quick or whatever, but usually you want something that's long-term, paid at the same date every month, and you're just continuing with them for a couple years, whatever, until you get bored. Saying no to clients. This is too many people are saying yes. You use no as a way to set expectation, avoid bad clients, and stop scope creep. Scope creep, that's when you're working on something, you guys verbally talked about what needed to be done, and now all of a sudden they just want this one little thing. And then they just want this other one little thing. And there's other one little thing. And now all of a sudden you're doing double the work that you expected and you allowed them to do it. No, but in a nice way. You gotta say no. It's hard. I couldn't say no for such a long time, but it changes things when you do. Situations where no might be necessary during cost negotiations. There is no negotiation. You're the expert. You know how long it takes. You know what it takes. This is it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, how can I produce the work and have my team work on it and all these things if I'm cutting a deal? That doesn't make any sense. This just doesn't work like that. The digital age is too valuable to give a discount. There's no discounts. 2019. No way. Can't.
You should tell them about that marathon website.
Well, I'll get into it. After deciding the project is not for you. So you spent time, you talked to them, and you realize this guy or girl is just not the client you want. You got to tell them, no, I don't want to work on your project. I'm sorry. I was reading a book today, actually, before I came, and this actually came up. And he talked about how he had a client. He met with them. The way they were talking, they couldn't achieve, this person had their head in the clouds. Literally just in an instant was like, sir, I really appreciate your time. I thank you for coming to me, but I don't think I'm able to help you in the way that you need to be helped. I think you should just keep looking, right? Or maybe I can find someone else for you. Easy way to say no. Trust me, you're gonna be less stressed out. You think you're gonna be like, oh, I need that money. No, you don't need their money. Scope creep, like we just talked about, when clients ask for things to be done outside of hours that you have set on your schedule, late night, weekends, holidays. No, can't do it, right? Sometimes as simple as saying no, other times you need to be nicer and or creative, right? I really do apologize. This is one for negotiation. I really do apologize. I actually just used this like literally a few months ago. I used this in November with a pretty big company too. I'm not gonna mention them, but you wouldn't expect that they would fold, and they did. I really do apologize, but I'm unable to negotiate the costs on this project. From experience, I know this is what it will take to produce this type of website. Did you want to review the details of the project and remove a few low priority items so we can fit your budget? I'm willing to fit your budget, just not doing the same list of items that I just gave you. And they're gonna want all their stuff and they're just gonna pay, period. Or they're not serious. You have to be like, I hate to try to be like so, oh man, this guy's kind of like an a-hole. But this is your money. I mean, you are spending time. You're having to deal with this person. Sometimes they bring their personal stuff into it. You start knowing that they got problems at home. Trust me, I got a client right now. I don't want to know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm nervous you're not going to be able to pay because you got all types of stuff going on. Like, I'm looking to the next thing. I'm already about to fire this guy. So be aware of that. This is what everybody probably came from. Structuring contracts and agreements. So I'm going to show you mine. So you can see what I use. I've been using it for a very long time now. Obviously consult with a lawyer or something if you're truly, want to make sure it's 100%. But I'm using this. I'm comfortable with it. Details are everything. Your agreement will include a very long list of items to be completed. Because if it's not on that list, it's not getting done. Period. That's notes from initial meetings, include it all. Exhibit A. You know what I mean? I don't even get formal with it. It's a list. Check it off. Make sure that everything's there. Because if it's not, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to charge you more. I got to charge you more. I can't do it. So make sure. And then that's it. All right? Do I need an NDA? I guess if they provide it. First of all, if someone who's a prospective client, like who has no thing going yet, and they're like, well, I don't want to tell you about my app because I don't want you to like, no. Just like, and no offense, because actually I had to drive Uber at one time, but Lyft, a guy in Lyft was like telling me about his idea. I told him, I do apps and web and all this, and I hate telling people, some certain people that, because I know they're gonna be like, oh, I got this Uber clone or whatever. The guy goes on about how he's had this idea for years, blah, blah. I'm like, well, tell me about it. He goes, well, I'm not really ready. I'm like, bro, you said you've just been thinking about it for 2 years. When are you gonna start? And he started getting offended. But he wants me to help him. And he wants me to sign an NDA. Like, bro, please, no. Now, if it's a corporation, if it's something where obviously there's intellectual property involved and they're serious, okay, then you do it. I'm saying judge it. Don't let people, if they're gonna do that, there's a million other things they're gonna do. They're very paranoid. And the thing is I always think about it like, okay, Mark Zuckerberg is kind of known for possibly stealing someone's idea and making $1 billion, right? When else has that ever happened? Do you know? Microsoft? Well, yeah, there was some pirating going on back in the day, but we're talking about a few instances, and I'm sure there's a lot of things where people try to steal, but truly, if I have an idea that I'm passionate about, you're not passionate. We know what it takes to code. Like, you're going to spend hundreds of hours on something you don't even like. You're truly just interested to see what it is they have. They don't get it. They think you're some wizard that, like, now all of a sudden you told them about their idea, which probably sucks. Their idea probably sucks. And now you're going to steal it. And then you're going to be a millionaire, and they're going to lose it all. And I'm like, when does that happen? Listen, I literally will go out and tell everybody about my ideas because I want to vet it. I want to know from people I trust, is this worth pursuing or not? Now, a direct competitor, am I going to tell them every little thing? Probably not. But you want to get insight. What do you think of this? Half my meetings are just me showing people my ideas and stuff, like things I'm working on. What do you think? Give me some ideas. I get the best ideas from the people who give me the feedback. Always get one. You know what I mean? I pay for the lunch, pay for the drink, and I get that one golden idea that gets me to the next thing. It was worth it. And they're not stealing my thing. They're going back to they got kids, they got stuff going on. Their boss maybe is hounding them for something. They're not stealing your idea. Trust me, they're not stealing your idea. So that's NDA. As you can see, I'm like kind of against it, but indifferent about it. It's just, it depends the situation. Key documents for all projects. Initial proposal, we talked about this. Visual way to show and reveal costs with. This is even used as part of an agreement. Sometimes I'll just use that as the agreement. Hey, we agree to this. Let's go. It's on that list. Let's do it. It's just something small, something we can just manage quickly. More complex, we want more details. Project agreement. I'm going to show you this stuff. These are the terms of the project. Example below. Statement of work. This is the document to start outlining the project itself, the cost, the payment deadlines. You will reference an attachment for project requirements. That's what I was talking about, that Exhibit A. So it won't be on this. It will be a accumulation of maybe you took notes or whatever. It doesn't need to be fancy. Don't spend a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time as individuals to be beautifying, the list of things that they want done. It can just be a list. It's actually easier for them to understand when you don't put all that other flair into it. It's just a list, bullet point. Project requirements. Sometimes your initial proposal can serve as this document. You want a long list of items to be completed. Anything not on this list requires a change of work order. Right? Not on the list, charge them more. Have to. Now, sometimes you're like, all right, you're being nice, you felt good that day, they paid on time twice in a row, and okay. And they're happy about it, but most times you're not going to do that. And they'll be less likely to honestly ask you to do a bunch of stuff if they know it's going to cost. And if not, then you're just making more money. So it's like win-win-win everywhere. Like you cannot lose in that situation. So I think my next one is, oh, let me pull up. I have it on a different screen. So I'm actually just gonna, if you're interested, you want me to go through the contract? Yeah. Perfect. So this is gonna be up online for you guys. So this is my gift. You can use this if you don't have one. If you have one you're not comfortable with and want to use, like I'm literally using this. Like I'm using this every day. I'll send this out tomorrow if I needed to. Starts with the project agreement. I'll just run through a little bit of it. Just kind of talks about who you are, who the client is, their address, what our duties are. We'll perform services described in Exhibit A. Term, what's the length? When are we starting? So how long is this going to last? Is it ongoing or is it 3 months? Capacity or project fee. So you'll kind of like, this might be an installment, so maybe it's a monthly installment, maybe it's all up front, so you'll kind of list it. These are just basics just to get them out of the way. Capacity, you're not an employee. You're just an outside consultant, right? Prior agreement, this is the only agreement that matters. Attorney review, they can get an attorney review. They probably won't, but you offered it to them. If something goes wrong, where are we going to court? Well, we're in Florida, we're going to Orange County. I can't stress enough, like, if the project goes well, you don't worry about this stuff. When the project goes bad, you want to know what happens when something negative happens. What is the consequence of it? Define it as quickly as possible, because then that's what it is. They signed up to it. If you just leave it out there, I mean, they can sue you, period. Anybody can sue anything for anything. This guy is shaking his head too much at me, I'm going to sue him, right? He's loving it. He's loving it too much. So modifications, if there's changes or whatever, like we have to agree to it, right? How do we get out of it? First signature, ours and theirs, right? Then now we're in the statement of work, client name. It's a lot of repetitive stuff, honestly. That's the annoying part of it. That's why you have to have a template, so you're just filling it out. Because if not, this could take you 5 hours. Then you're losing money at that point. Client name, what's the high level details? Okay, web development and monthly maintenance, right? It's just the highest level, like what is it? Your name, email, date, you presented it, you know, basic stuff, your client, kind of went over that again. All the services provided under statement of work will be, you know, in line with the conditions of the project agreement. This is just like legal jargon shit. They're never gonna read it, honestly, they never do. Sad, but it's true. Executive overview, so what are they looking to receive? 3 months of SEO consultation for mygreatwebsite.com. This is the monthly cost. This is when it will be billed. This is the term. Refer to our document, name the document, put it in the folder that you're sending to them. So you got one folder that has all these assets. When you get a client, when they're coming on board, you should have a Google Drive folder that's just for them, and you start loading everything in there, a record. Because I'm telling you right now, that's what matters the most. Is having that record. Start it immediately, as soon as you know that this is a client. Then we get into the cool stuff. So this stuff kind of talks about like, you know, I'll take responsibility if I mess it up, blah, 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 I won't charge you more. But there's things like, what if there's an earthquake? What happens if you lose your home? And now obviously you're not working for a while because you're like devastated. Have that in there, please, because it could happen. I know it sounds crazy, but you know, could happen. So that type of stuff's in there. Change of work order, so what are the terms of that? Delivery dates, timing. So what I'm telling them here is, and kind of briefly, for every week that you're late with an asset, it could be multiple weeks of development time late. Like, you make me late, it's much later. Because I got other stuff going on. If I'm not on schedule, then how can I can't just stop everything for you. So that's important to make sure they understand that. Because then it's like, they're late, but then they think you're gonna do it right away. And you're like, you missed the deadline, I'm on the next thing, it'll be done by this new date. And that's outlined. Authorization to begin, so they sign it again. So the list of items is very similar to the one that I showed you. If you want a deeper look into that, just contact me and I'll share it with you. But I didn't have any that weren't like branded and stuff, and I didn't want to like show which companies were doing what. So maybe you guys steal my clients, I don't know. Need an NDA before I show you that. You know what I mean? So I'm getting close. Is anybody tired yet, or are you guys still engaged? You good? This is good? You waiting for the next thing? Cool. So that's contracts. So you got a contract. Managing your clients and projects. So this is the fun part. Now you've got the money, champion client, freaking everything is great. Now what do we do next? And obviously all of these things, I've sort of briefly gone over all these things, and we can go deeper at some later time. But now we're in this part. We're here, we already made the sale, we did the networking, we got the referral, guy's paying us $20,000, most money we've ever made in one client, and we're not doing a lot of work, so what's the next thing? Clients, the tip is, clients don't like to be in the dark. Leverage online tools to keep constant communication flowing with minimal effort. The worst thing that the clients, especially if they're non-technical, you don't talk to them for a few days and they're like, is this guy just eating pizza bagels all day and playing video games, or is he actually working on my stuff? Like, what's going on? So you have to have some way, without calling them, don't text. I tell clients right when they become client, don't text me about anything work related. It's got to be in Slack, it's got to be on Trello, Google Drive, because I can't search a text. And I machine gun text, so I'll go for a while and then, I lost it. So if you told me something on there, it's not going to get done. I'm telling you right now. I don't even try. I just tell them right away, it's not going to work. Useful tools for managing clients and projects, and many of these you probably already know about. Slack is like the go-to. That's your little banter communication, because you can search it. You can, it's time-stamped. It's official. It's truly official. Try to avoid messengers. Don't talk to them on Skype about what they need done. If there's an item they need done, it must go into a live Google Doc that you're just adding to, or they're going to tell you on Slack, because you can refer back to it. And when they say, well, I thought I told you to do it like this, and you're like, no, you told me to do it like that, it's right there. Right? Project, and don't text, don't email. Email, I know that sounds weird, but I truly hate clients emailing me. One time I had a client, before like 10 o'clock in the morning, we had sent 40 emails back and forth between multiple people about multiple subjects. I was totally lost. I was frustrated. I don't work with this client anymore, honestly. It's just taking up too much of my time. I got all the tools set up. They don't want to use them. They're maybe older. They're not used to it. Okay, get used to it. This is how we're working. You wanted to have a technology company, but you're not used to technology. I don't understand. It's not a champion client. It's not a champion client. At least try, right? We can respect that, right? Everybody's got to learn something. Project management, Trello is a favorite. Pretty simple to use. Basecamp, there's a bunch of them. Choose one, preferably a free one, right? Because we don't make that much money yet to just be buying all this stuff. Unless they're paying you a lot, right? Then you can. Think about it. When you're charging people, you got to pay for all this stuff. So you're not just charging by the hour for what you're doing. You're charging to keep your business going, right? Tracking your time. I use a free app called Hours. It doesn't really add them all up for me and stuff. It's free, but I'll add them up at the end. And then this new company that I just started doing a little bit of work with, they have EverHour. So it's this other software. It's pretty cool, where you can track it, and then it can attach to Slack, integrates with Slack and different things. So as you use your time, they get a report of it. That's what I'm talking about. You get these instant notifications about things you're doing. They're receiving a notification on their phone. They're happy because you're working. Maybe, I don't know, right? But they're getting a message, so at least they feel like you're thinking about their project, because that's what they care about most. Even if they're just paying you for 10 hours a month, they want to know you're thinking about it 24/7. And that's how you do it, right? Storing assets, Google Drive, we just talked about this. Easiest way, create a project folder, invite the client, any documents, images should be loaded to this organized folder. There's no excuse. Google Drive, Dropbox, whatever you want. I trust Google a little bit more. They're pretty good. And I think they're way cheaper. I'm not sure, I'm not positive. So this is a question Elise wanted me to talk about, and this is actually pretty interesting because we get kind of caught in the weeds, right? We're problem solvers. We want to know, are we using React? Are we using Vue? The client don't care. Half time they don't give a shit. They don't even know. They don't know what it is. You're the expert. Tell them, right? What stack should I use? Options and situation. Use what you know best and can work with quickly. That's my advice. I don't care what it is. They don't care. They want results. If they're making money, they got an e-commerce site. They don't care if it's WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Shopify. Recommend the thing you can get them up and going with quickly and go from there. If they start making a bunch of money, you can switch later if the requirements change. You know what I mean? I mean, half the time I'm moving people from platforms to other ones. Hey, you need to be on this thing. This is what I work in. You want to work with me? This is what I work in. That's it. And they do it. Okay? Continue to use the client's current stack. So sometimes you just come in there, they got something going. So you don't really have a choice. But you can recommend something that is best for the project. This is number one. Not every project requires React or Heroku to host something. You know what I mean? Like, not every project calls for that. So don't do, now if that's your niche, then obviously that's what you're doing, which I recommend. But if you're kind of out there doing different projects, make sure you're just using what's right for the project. And if you don't know how to do it, then that's where your connections that you met networking, who are like-minded, who have skills, who you can kind of pass it off to, maybe make a little bit of money as well. Right? Makes sense. So yeah, your job typically involves recommending technologies for the client's projects. Don't put yourself in a position where you're using technologies you have very little experience with. The client does not care about tech stacks. They care most about results and reaching their goals. When I first started like freelancing, like the iPhone just came out and I was like, oh man, like I gotta build apps. I'm building websites, I gotta do this app thing. I was taking on clients, app clients. I didn't even never built an app. I was learning on the fly. Some of them we could do, some of them totally failed. I had to get money back. So that was a learn. See, those are the things where you have a mentor, you have someone who's gonna teach you. They're gonna say, don't do that. It's not worth it. I did that and it was like, but that's how I learned. And something, you know, in many occasions I learned on someone else's dime, which is okay because they still got a result. I mean, one guy that I did an app for, one of my first apps, he was like top 10 in the fitness section. Now this was earlier in the iPhone days, so it was less, you know, it was still competitive, but not as much. So that was good, right? Simple app. I did it, had one person help me, I paid him a little bit of money. It was in the store. Success, right? But sometimes I don't recommend that because, especially if you're just starting. So we kind of talked about this at the beginning. A lot of you guys are just kind of getting out there. Do something that's comfortable for you. If you have to say no to a client because it's just not really what you're good at, trust me, it's better to move on. Just keep that relationship for later. Just keep in touch with them. Hey, this one's not for me, but let's keep in touch. Maybe, you know, if you need help looking at someone's proposal, I'll take a look at it for you. Right? That's adding value to your relationship. Now this person can rely on you. Right? Told someone the other day, hey, when you meet with your marketing company, just, if you want me to listen in, I won't talk, unlike Max, right, who's going to do my speech next. I won't talk and I'll just listen. Great. Damn. Roy's got time to do that. Fuck. Yeah, let's bring him in. You didn't charge me, right? No, not charging. I'm just going to, this is the free one. Key for setting expectations. We kind of talked about this. So how do you get to a point where you're not promising the world, never achieving it, and you get fired? How do you like not do that? And again, these are, you know, so these are clients that truly don't, some of them don't know what a success, like how to measure it. And you can kind of tell them what it is. And if they think that makes sense, then you can work with them. So small wins. Your project should consist of many small wins over a long period of time. That list I showed you had like 8 small wins and like 3 other semi-big things. I mean, Google listing, that's going to not take that much time. Small win. But they need it. In the deck, I show them what their stuff looks like, what the competitors look like on Google search. And we simply just need to fix that one thing. And actually, this is, again, don't say simple, but it's pretty, you know, it's pretty. Right? I don't even know the word to say about it, but you know what I mean. Overestimate, inflate your timelines by like 30%, finish before the deadline. I think we all know that, right? Don't put yourself in a bad situation. Be careful what you say. Avoid words like easy, simple, as the clients equate that to low cost. It's just human nature. If it's simple, why does it cost $20,000? Why would I pay $20,000 for something that's simple? It doesn't make sense. Now, simple procedure at the doctor's office, $20,000, $80,000. But at the end of the day, that's, you know, they set expectation. The hospital set that expectation. Now you're okay with it. Yeah, you complain about it, but you're okay with it. Same with your client. They will adapt. Over communicate, like I said, communicate, but not in a way which takes you a lot of time. Automated. I have one client, it automatically sends them reports weekly on the Slack of like what the sales were, what the conversions were. So I don't have to like start screenshotting that and doing all, it just shows up. Or you can use like some of the Google tools to do like little dashboards and stuff. So there's a lot of ways to make it so they have 24-hour access, they're constantly getting updates, but you're not physically working on that. It's just happening. I think we all know about those tools, right? So this is the last part, I think. Sorry if it's taking too long. So when and how to fire a client. This is the best part, because this is when you relieve your stress, you're moving on, new pastures, you feel like a new man, new woman, and you're out there. You're like, I got to get rid of this person. Best time to fire a bad client was yesterday. Immediately. Bad clients waste your time, energy, and cause stress in your life. Move on as soon as you identify these issues. They start checking boxes. You're slowly trying to figure out, okay, how do we wrap this up? Let me give them what they paid for. Let's move on. Okay? You got busy. You're busy. Come up with something. It's not them. It's you, right? That's what you tell them. Why would I fire a client? You're no longer interested in the project. Happens all the time. I'm on a project for a couple years. I mean, honestly, sometimes I get bored. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to find a new challenge. Okay? I took you to a certain point. I did what I need to do. You need someone better than me. I'm no longer good for you. Right? It's honesty, right? Like, hey man, you need someone who can, I got you 100,000, now you need someone to get you to 1 million, because I had never made 1 million, so how can I teach it to you? When the client has become difficult to deal with or manage, they're becoming just a nuisance, just all types of stuff we already talked about. You have better opportunities, you need to free up your time. This is gonna happen when you're networking, like I told you. There's always gonna be a new opportunity. You're gonna have so many opportunities, you'll never be out there looking for one, because they're just coming. I try to tell people I'm like a magnet. It just comes. You know what I mean? I don't know how. Well, I know how because I have a deep network of people who know everything that they need to know about me in order to make me money. And I know things about them too, and I make them money. I've made a lot of people money. Doing different projects, hooking up with clients. That comes back tenfold every time. Every time. Client has missed or been late on multiple payments. Can't have that. Got to move on after that because it's not going to get better. You have one conversation. Hey, I have to rely on, I'm expecting this check at this date. I think it's fair that, we agreed to it. Do we need to change the date? Your credit card will do that, right? Like if you owe, they'll let you change the date or like your insurance. Okay, can we change the date? Because I really need it on this date. If not, I'm going to start finding someone who will pay on time. They understand. If their job did not pay them on time, they would not go to work. Some people will, but smart people won't. Client is slow to respond or goes missing for periods of time. I'm telling you right now, I have a client right now, I did not hear from him in 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty much not working on it anymore because I don't know, are we still in business or are we not? Because I don't have time for it. And if you're not going to answer me, if you're not going to answer my stuff, then if you have personal stuff going on, handle that. Or just, separate it. Business, you're personal. We're friends, but if you go buy a car or whatever, they're not bending to your every need because of something that's going on. Their boss is not going to let them sell you that car for $10,000 cheaper. It's just not going to happen. You don't see long-term benefit working with the client. So you just don't see anything long-term. You want long-term money, consistent. They're not that. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. You can mutually break off from that. You're noticing that it's not going to be continuous to be fruitful. Before you fire a client, take time to call, meeting, express your frustrations, explain to them your situation has changed, and try to get out of it. Once you've made up your mind to fire a client, that's it. Start the plans with them to turn over any assets and finish what you have to do. The second that you feel it, because there's just going to be a lot of friction. I'll do that sometimes, just I go too long, and I'm worn out. I should have just moved on sooner. Sometimes it's worse when you keep going, because then you get even more wrapped up in things, and it's like the client. Actually a client I got rid of, I'm still doing little bits of work because they just needed me that much. And I have to move on. But at the end of the day, there was just things we were in the middle of. And though I've got them to a certain point, they're relying at that point. But they're not a good client. I had to tell them, listen, you're too needy. I don't have time for this. And at the same time, I have big ambitions and your thing does not fit into that. I have to worry about my track. You know what I mean? Like, I'll help you build your business, but to a certain point when you've gotten me aggravated, I don't care about it anymore, and that's natural, right? If you have a friend, they're always complaining to you, you don't want to hang out with them. You want to be around happy people. So it's like, same thing, right? It's human nature. So here's just a couple quotes, and then we're pretty much wrapping it up. So, dealing with difficult clients, John, I'd like to have a meeting this week if possible. I want to discuss our payment schedule. Last month, my payment was 2 weeks past our agreed to monthly date. I'd like to figure out the best way we can start to be more consistent. They get it at that point, trust me, right? You get that message, like, you get it. Like, we all get it. Leaving for better opportunities. So this is usually after like a monthly call, like some sort of reporting call. Hey, Sarah, do you have like 10 more minutes real quick? I have some tough decisions to make in the coming weeks or months. I'm getting offered some new opportunities, and in order to take them, I need to free up some time. I'd like to put a plan together for transferring assets and responsibilities if it is decided I can no longer support our project together. Okay? Happens. People move on, right? So, bonus, reading list. So where do I get a lot of my information? Where should you look? I highly recommend, if you read every single one of these books, and they're short, you'll be on your way to success if you follow what they say. The Consulting Bible, first book I truly read several years ago that changed me. This guy, Alan Weiss, he's not like Gary Vee, like out there. Like, he's an influencer, but old school influencer. And the guy's made a ton of money, just bringing value to people, not performing work. And that's kind of what I want to do. So that's a good one to check out because he teaches you about contracts. He teaches you about getting value, teaches you about the champion type clients and stuff. So it's learned a lot from him. Built to Sell. So this is a good book because it kind of sets the stage for, like, if you start your company, maybe one day, you'll be tired of it, but it's a respectable company, maybe you can sell it. So where do you need to be in order for that to happen? And this just gives you a good idea because what they talk about is process. So in the book, the guys do agency stuff. They just do everything. And like, they're making money, but it's kind of like, like we're talking about, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's all over the place. Guy wants to sell his business, can't do it. It's not worth anything because everybody knows this guy. They only buy because of him. It's like, Joe, got to work with Joe. It's a bad move because now it's like totally reliant. His mentor introduces a process. He says, what are you best at? They're best at graphics, doing logos, stuff for products. He said, focus on that. They did the research. They figured there was a lot of companies locally that needed it. And in 2 years, he sold his business for I think it was like $8 million or something like that. And it was an agency. And then all they did was logos. Now, is it realistic to these times? I mean, it was, it pretty much is, but the strategy, process. If you're working with real estate agents, have a process. Have 3 templates they choose from. That's going to make you more money because you can keep selling that for $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 over and over again, and you make slight improvements, slight fixes, and it's like, you're good. And that's kind of what he talks about. Deep work for all those people that don't have enough time. That's going to be the number one thing. Roy, I don't have enough time. Okay, deep work. Cal Newport, he'll tell you. Never split the difference. So you're not good at negotiating. This is my favorite negotiating book. This guy was like FBI negotiator. He has this thing called the Black Swan Group, and he talks about the black swan. And you have to find the black swan. What is the thing the person needs to make what you want them to do a reality? Like, what do they need? And you got to find that. And he teaches you how to do it. Because he had to save people's lives. Like, people were being held at gunpoint, and as you can imagine, right? Like all over the world, like terrorists and all. And he's negotiating. And they have to figure out, how do we bring this person down? But it's similar to sales and negotiating your pricing. It's the same thing. Crucial conversations. This is one I always need help with because sometimes I get into it with clients, right? It happens. We all kind of get stressed out. This is great for learning what to say, how to level it down, how to calm someone else down, a bunch of stuff like that. And then 1-page marketing plan. Some of you may not be marketers. You're just a developer, but I think you should check this out because it gives you a really good background as to what a good marketing plan looks like. And if you have to put something basic together for a client just to get them started, right? Like you're their starter consultant, you can do that. And then once they're going, maybe you either find someone else for them to work with you or they move on, you pass them on to the next thing. That's successful. If you take a new person who's got no marketing plan, and this thing talks about back end and front end marketing, And then you just set stuff up for them, and then they're happy with that, and then you pass them on. You don't think they're going to give you a testimonial and say you were great, you did everything they needed them to do? Didn't take advantage of them, didn't promise them things that you couldn't do. You did what you knew how to do, you did it well, and now they're on the next step. That's freaking amazing. That's exactly what you want. So those books, you read those books. I'm on my 24th book this year so far. I want to read 50. And most of this information either I've learned or I've got from these books. Can be done. Okay. If you need a little bit extra help, I've met with several people here previously, no charge. Max, he comes up with his own stuff sometimes. I'll get with you if you have questions. I have no problem. I'm trying to train myself too. I want to give you guys some good advice and then see you use it and be successful with it, and then the rest will come. Trust me, it always does. Questions?
So you talked a little bit about like automating your communication with your clients.
Yeah.
Like other things that you automate, like your networking or
Yeah.
itself, or
I mean, essentially getting those base people is your automation because they're out networking when you're sleeping, right? So you need, I don't want to call them like foot soldiers, but they're kind of like, it's your trusted circle. And you know, the people I hang out with, they network a lot too. They're always meeting people. So if they meet someone interesting and I just don't happen to be there, I'm going to meet them later. And that's automation, truly, right? Like it's just happening. So yeah, that's a way, that's what I'm trying to say. Like we don't have time to go to drinks every night. Plus we'll be too drunk to get anything done, right? So we need to have other people who are on the ground making that happen. And you're doing it for them as well. It's long term. I knew Max for, it had to be several months before this came about. So I had to like actually spend time with this guy. I'm just playing, he's a good guy. But you know, we spent a lot of time, but we're on the same page. I know what he looks for in a client. He knows what I look for in a client. We go to dinners together, we get together, right? And now when he talks about me or I talk about him, we talk with passion. It's our friend. You need to work with this guy. I'm telling you, he's the best. Really? Oh, well, I trust you because you know what you're saying. So that's automation. No? Go ahead.
So you said you started consulting around 21 or fresh out of college, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that people should wait a couple of years till they're at least past the junior phase, or?
No.
Okay.
There's always someone that needs what you can provide on some level.
It depends on what you want your skill set to be. If you want it to be that interaction, it's that interaction.
I say don't wait. Don't wait. Like there's someone at the oil place that just changes your oil, right? Like that's pretty simple. But they get paid to do it. They're there doing it. They get you on your way. You're on your next step. If you need something bigger, engine, you go to another place. They refer you. Start now. Don't be scared. This isn't an interview. This isn't, oh, I got an interview with the biggest tech company and they're going to give me a coding review and nah. It's not going to happen. It's what can you tell them that is going to get them to work with you? You know, like I said, I didn't build an app. I went and spoke down in Miami in the Wynwood Art District right when apps came out. Like I was on it. I did a talk because I knew someone who owned an art gallery. They knew a lot of artists, so I wanted to I built like a plug and play profile for the App Store. So if you were an artist, you could put your pictures in there, your name, just the simplest thing that Apple doesn't really let you do anymore. So I was immediately doing that. I never wrote any code. I bought the books and I was starting to go. I built websites and stuff, so I had some background, but immediately people were hiring me. They didn't care. They felt that I could bring them a result. Most of them I did. Some of them I failed, but it happens. You gotta take a risk somewhere. So as long as you're honest about it, and like I said, one time I had to literally give them their money back because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't figure it out, honestly. It sucked. It was a very hard conversation, but oh well. Long time ago.
What would your guidance be on listing out your scope when it comes to like maintenance for the product that you just built? So if you have clients that are asking for like things like MVPs, would you try to limit it to like your top 10 items so that we don't drag into a project for a long term?
Preferably you want to limit it, but that's where if you have a few other people that can help you, you just involve them. Like I have a good friend, he's a developer at Disney. He works on like a lot of high level stuff. When I get a project that we can work on, he does it. He's built multiple apps for me, right? So I didn't know how to in depth do that. But I knew how to manage the project. I have been a part of a lot of app projects. So that's really what my value was, is like, listen, if you go and you try to offshore this or do something, like, it's not gonna end up right. I've been a part of disasters. Let me make this right. Because I know how we can inch along where you're not spending a bunch of money, but we're getting MVP things done, and I have a really good person who's gonna work on it, who's highly qualified. Code's gonna be clean, all that. And then, okay, like that's valuable too. So if it is a part of something you're not doing, that's when your network comes into play, right? Maybe that's how an agency starts, right? Like the first thing, you're just getting stuff, and then people are joining in, and now you got 3, 2, 1. And you got a beautiful office. I don't know how it started. Maybe that's how it was. So it's just building up to it. But be careful. If you do websites, they want an app, you truly don't know anything about it, leave it alone. Be honest about it. Because normally when I say no, there's always some other call like the next day that comes. And if I took on the other thing, I wouldn't have time. So, make sense? Perfect. Anything else?
I have a couple of questions. So, you're talking about getting into like a niche market. So, at the stage that you're at now, do you find that, of course, each project has its little nuances and differences, but you're essentially going through the same process for every client, right?
Yeah, you try to.
Okay.
You try to. So like I do a lot of WordPress sites.
Right.
So if it's a WordPress site, custom theme, something, it's something I know very well. I've been working with WordPress for like a decade.
You have your favorite plugins that you use.
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
You know what
Yep.
I mean? Things
Yep.
like that start to develop for you, and that's when you start doing kind of what you're talking about, working less hard for more money.
Exactly. And I audit what I'm working on to see if like, okay, like if I've already brought a few companies to success with this type of thing, then I'll do it.
Right.
If I've never brought success, like it just depends what the opportunity, but usually I won't work on it. Because I want to bring a good result. So I rather focus on the things where like it'll make them happy. And then that will take me a little bit further. Like even if it's simple things, I don't know if you got a glimpse of that list, but it was not complicated. I was migrating a site, putting up business listing, giving him feedback on his content, adding schema plugins, and maybe doing a little bit of schema fixes on the page so that he shows, that he makes the connection with Google with that business listing. And then, really what my goal is to create a process for him on creating content, because he's an individual, he only has so much time, but he doesn't know what to produce. So I'm showing him how I do the research. I find topics that are basically high volume but low competition. He can put up blogs, repurpose them for videos and stuff like that instantly and be up and running. So that's what I'm teaching him. That's the value. I'm not coding. I'm not building his website. His website's done. He needs assist just telling him where things need to go.
That's my next question. So much of what I'm doing is similar to this WordPress thing, and I feel like there's this much coding and like this much marketing, right? It's SEO, it's the business listing, it's all these other things that I really didn't learn in the bootcamp. Like none of this is relevant to what I learned. So how did you teach yourself to the level that you're comfortable now teaching your clients so that they can kind of move on?
A lot of trial and error. Read that book, One Page Marketing Plan. There's a few other books. If you contact me, I'll put you on. But essentially, the problem is these days is, everybody needs marketing. Putting up a website is not enough. So if you're just a web developer, you probably either need to learn some basics, which people think SEO and stuff is black magic, but it's truly about doing the basics. Like Google just wants to know what your content's about and they want to know its quality. There's a way to represent that isn't some black magic thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't focus on backlinks. I don't focus on some of these more difficult tasks. I simply just want to make sure when the Google bot crawls this page, everything is what it expects it to be. And usually that's enough because there's a lot of people not doing that. So when Google's looking through it, they're like, this must be relevant because look how structured their stuff is. They got the schema. They've got all these different list schema. So I'm gonna put their lists in the rich snippet. All these little things, and it works. You know what I mean? Like I had one client and people are kind of surprised because they're like, all right, what did you really do here? And I'm like, listen, I did what it took to get their result. I brought them from, and don't take this a weird way, they get a small percentage of this, but they were selling $1.7 million in tickets online the year before I started. By the second year, we were hitting 7.5 million. And I didn't do anything crazy, but they weren't doing the basics. And they were already making money. So I literally just had to turn a couple knobs. I didn't need to go above and beyond and do all this stuff. Like some people may look at it face value and say, you didn't do shit. No, you don't know what you're talking about because we got a result. And I've done it multiple times. So that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Like, not like you probably need to team up with someone who's marketing focused.
Right.
Go to a meetup, the marketing meetup, meet some people who do you kind of mesh with, and then build a relationship. Trust me, they're gonna want the work, just like you do. That's what you need to do if that's your problem, but learn, because it's actually I don't wanna say simple, but the one-page marketing plan will give you some strategies that you can implement right away, and the freaking client will think you're a genius. I mean, that's how it is.
The only way to be taken seriously is to take yourself seriously.
Yes.
There's no alternative. That's it. Come correct or just don't come at all, you know?
Think about it when you go to buy a car or something super expensive. You truly don't know usually a lot about it. You're looking for them to educate you. Same thing. And the second you feel like this person is giving you value, then you're like, sold. Okay, well, I don't know where they learned their sale. They could have just got out of sales school last week.
Right.
I don't know. So it really just comes down to, if you're new and you know basic things, sell those basic services. You know how many people need it? You don't understand. Some people they don't know where to find someone. They have no idea. Not everybody needs the next Facebook. Don't work on those projects. It's not worth it. You don't want to be in bed with someone for a decade unless you're getting paid like a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, it's not worth it. You want to do, I always wanted to, because I'm like, obviously my road is I've learned all these things through like just wanting to make money on them. But then you start to realize like, man, I just don't want to do it for them. Like I'd rather do it for myself. If I'm going to code something, then I'm probably going to want to work it on my own thing. Because I know what I'm doing and I know I can trust my stuff. Other than that, I want, big ticket. I want coaching. That's where I'm moving to, because I just have been doing it for so long. I'm kind of like it's fun, but the challenge only lasts so long.